ディテールについてもお聞きしたいんですけど、細部にこだわるというのはどこまでが価値になってどこからが自己満足になってしまうというふうに考えてますか？
So I think one thing I learned from being in Japan is small things are important and small details are important. And that was a value that my last company had. We always joke that when we make a presentation, we could see if something was off by just 1 pixel. So having an eye for detail and caring about the small things, I think is really important. So I hope when people see, the packaging materials that we use, the logo design, the quality of the wine, that people feel my intention around quality. There's also, it's like, how far do you take it? And hopefully you take it as far as you can, but there's also a famous quote from directors in the US that is saying, a great film is never finished, it's abandoned. Because at some point you have to run out of time and you have to put it into the world and then let other people enjoy it. Otherwise, you're never going to release anything.
何かを作るときに足すことと削ること、どちらをまずされますか？
It's an interesting question because you cannot subtract unless you have something to take away from. So I think you start with addition and basically putting things on the table, so to speak, starting to craft something and then seeing what you have and then removing what's unnecessary after that. And I think in the case of like the logo design, for example, we started with a design that was much more complicated. It had a lot of rings. It looked kind of cool and something was there, but then the polishing process happens, taking things away, less rings, the movement to just break that outer ring into the kind of the temple roofline. So yes, I think it starts with adding things and then the hardest process is kind of taking things away and making those hard decisions. And I think again, at my former company, it was, you have to say no a lot to get to the great things. So it's just keep focusing on the things that are best and pushing the other things aside. So the only thing that's left in the end is what you're proud of and what is the best.
今ザンダーさんが作るワインは多くの高級ホテルやミシュランの星がついたレストランでも採用されてますけれども、そのシェフたちとはどんなふうに信頼関係を築いていらっしゃるんですか？
So I think it started from a very authentic place because I started as a customer. So first I would go to restaurants and then I was very fascinated. I asked a lot of questions. I think chefs appreciate when you care about the food. So a lot of times people think, oh, a sushi restaurant, it's about the fish. So when I have dinner with a sushi chef, I'm kind of like, where's the shari from and which farm? And they're like, oh, he cares about the interesting, important things. When I've had tempura restaurants, I would ask about the sesame oil they use. And the chefs would be so surprised and proud, they would bring me a little tray of the sesame oil to try because they're very proud of their craft. And I think as I started making the wines as a hobby, I would bring my wines to the chefs that I know and I would ask them for feedback. So I kind of jokingly say that the first wine I made in 2012 was 300 bottles. It's very small. It's kind of the most expensive meishi you could make. So it has my name on it. I use it to introduce myself, but it's fun because they get to open it, they get to try it. And I think if they did not like the wine, the journey would be over very soon. But fortunately, we got a lot of great feedback from them and they encouraged me to keep developing it. And so I would, I spent most of my vacation times at the end of a busy business year. My bonenkai would be come to Japan, eat great food, see momiji-gari, maybe spend, Christmas time here. And over the years, the chefs started getting, understanding my wines. I would take their feedback. And I also am inspired by Kaizen, the Japanese business philosophy is just every year try to improve something. But something started happening 4 or 5 years into this hobby phase where the chefs would say, I really like this, can I order it? And instead of saying, okay, here's a sales sheet, let's take your order, I would say, thank you very much, but we're not ready yet, but please let's stay friends, let's keep in touch. And that's what we did over the years. And it wasn't until 2023, the year after I retired from tech, I focused on the winemaking brand exclusively, and I decided to make the first year Japan only to show my intention and my respect for the country and for the brand. And when I did that, all the chefs that I knew, that knew me, that knew my wines, they were all there to support me from day one. So yeah, some of the great chefs in Tokyo, including Sushi Saito, were one of my early customers. And then of course, I think people in Japan understand that if somebody important that has great taste and is respected says, this is a good wine, everybody's like, okay, I can take this seriously now. So that just started opening a lot of doors. So on this trip, it's very special to me because we're celebrating the 3-year anniversary of my wine launch. And now when I look at my customer list, we have over 100 customers in Japan. So I really am honored by the support, and it's just so exciting to see my wines traveling all over the country and being enjoyed by people. So I couldn't be happier with the adoption and the support from the Japanese food and beverage community.
シェフとのこのコミュニケーションのお話をお聞きしていると、ザンダーさんのコミュニケーションの高さというのも成功の一因かなと思いますけれども、そのコミュニケーションの極意って何だと思いますか？
So I think one of the greatest forms of communication is listening to somebody else talk. So it's being really genuinely interested, and I'd like to think that I'm a curious person that likes to learn about the world and cultures, so I find myself asking a lot of questions. And I think at the beginning of meals, people are a little bit more shy. After a few drinks, it becomes more and more fun to talk. And then I've also learned there are little jokes that you can make. And I love when people pour Nihonshu, and I'll just be like, "Oto to to to," and they're like, "Ma ma ma," and they're like, "What?" Like having hearing that from somebody who's got kokujin, they think that's very charming. So I think it's just making friends and just really trying to connect, asking questions, and the kinds of questions that I ask are trying to learn about the culture that Japanese people are really proud of. And Japanese, I feel like, want to share that culture. So when somebody is coming here and not just trying to, have a business trip and having a great time and then leaving, but really coming and trying to learn the culture and connect with people, I found that that's helped me make a lot of really wonderful friends across the country.
日本ではファイヤーや早期リタイアといったことに関心が高い方が多いんですけれども、ザンダーさんのように新しいチャレンジをしたい人、特に40代、50代で新たなチャレンジをしたい人には最初の一歩として何を勧めますか？
I think that next step is actually similar to the first step, which I would like to think at any point in your life, what we should be doing is following passions in whatever we do. So choosing a profession, finding something within that speaks to your heart and speaks to passion, because that makes work not feel like work. It makes it feel fun because it's inspiring, it's motivating. So I always tell people, follow your passions at any given moment, and then you're going to do your best work, and you are going to find people that are similar to you, and I think everything will fall into place if you're following passions versus if you're doing something that you don't really care about, and if it's just for money or if it's another reason, it's not going to take you down the path as it will if you follow passions, and then other passionate people will join that journey with you.
若いクリエイターや起業家などの方たち、ビジネスパーソンの方たちには何を伝えたいですか？
So I've heard advice at the beginning of my career. I've heard this advice given in the middle of my career to young people, and then I have some perspective now being a little later in the career. The number one thing is, again, be passionate, but work really hard. Always try to add something more to a project. Take the next step beyond what your boss expects or your team. Always try to be the team member that goes the extra distance for their team. The person that's going to work hard and realizes, hey, my boss asked me to do this project, but I saw room for improvement here, and I noticed something could be done better here. So I think the people that really succeed and stand out are the ones that just really take that extra step. And when you're young, you have more energy. So that's the time in your life to do that. Working a little bit of extra hours. Some people, back in the kind of the tech world, it could be working weekends. When you're young, that's the time to do that. And you learn a lot. Making yourself indispensable to your managers and your team, they're going to want to bring you on to the next project. And if there's another important project comes up, they're going to say that person always goes the extra distance. So that's my advice, is to have the passion and always try to find opportunities to add value and to become like an indispensable member of whatever team you're on.
大変刺激になるお話をありがとうございました。お忙しい中お時間いただきましてありがとうございました。
ありがとうございます。Thank you very much.